so much excitement for the start of a new season that we're building the drama to the countdown just a little bit more. You can take it, right? Great Nebraska crowd turning out as always. Kentucky fans turning out. And we are just about ready for the first serve of a new season.
They just want us to wait a little bit longer, right?
Why? It's been a long time since December. Let's go. Let's play. The first serve of a new season belongs to the sophomore from South Dakota, Bergen Riley, and the 2024 volleyball season is underway. That drops in, and the first point goes to Kentucky. The Wildcats ranked 9th in the country. A season ago, picked up 21 wins, 17-1 in the SEC. The 7-time defending SEC champs or co-champs. That's how dominant they've been for a while. That one drops down, and the first point for Nebraska.
How about Bergen Riley isolating her left side hitter? Kentucky block is frozen in the middle. You see that. And then Merritt Beason is the beneficiary on the outside.
Hard contact, not much that Eleanor Bevan can do about that one. 2-1 Nebraska. We play a best of 5.
Really nice job by Nebraska, putting the serve right on Kentucky, forcing that overpass so Rebecca Allen can go up and bang.
Harper Murray sent back. Rodriguez with the bump set. Murray reloads. Kentucky there defensively. Swing from DeLay, who's got a big arm. She'll try again. But Nebraska's defense is there. Elite defensively, time and again.
Really nice job by Merritt Beason on that right side for Nebraska, setting up a really strong block so that Rebecca Allen could close, totally seal the net there. Excellent block.
Nebraska held opponents to a 137 hitting percentage a season ago, tops in Division I for a second straight season. DeLay tries again, that's off hands, and it's a point for Kentucky.
Brooklyn DeLay worked this summer in the USA gym, and she had to find more tools, bigger block internationally, and that was one of them, that flat high swing off the big block.
DeLay, the SEC Freshman of the Year, an honorable mention All-American from the AVCA. Molly Tuzzo back to serve. Craig Skinner could not say enough great things about number 12 and the work she has done to be ready to take her game to the next level. SEC All-Freshman last year. There is Tuzzo. She does a great job keeping points alive. Set for DeLay. Riley to Beason, and DeLay there on the block.
Brooklyn DeLay for Kentucky looked around to see where that ball went, but block successful for Kentucky.
There you see Craig Skinner, former Nebraska assistant coach. Coach of the Year just a couple of years ago, national champions back in that 2020-2021 season. The first SEC team to win a national title. Bevan digs it out, Grown with the set, the back row attack from the freshman Thigpen. DeLay drops it in, showing a soft touch, so we know she's got the big arm, and she's showing a softer side as well.
Well, Holly just talked about it. She's trying to get more tools in her toolkit, trying to mix it up to keep a defense honest. Nice job by Emma Grown, keeping her in system and tight enough to the net so she could place that tip right over Nebraska's block.
Good service run here for Tuzzo as Kentucky's in front.
Ooh, great serve.
At the net, and the point for Kentucky. Brooke Bultema, the redshirt freshman from Cincinnati, did not play last year, had an ankle injury in the preseason, so making her collegiate debut.
And Brooke Bultema had to be patient on that ball because the setter for Nebraska, Bergen Riley, could jump up and set that, and she couldn't block it otherwise.
Tuzzo locked in right now. Murray, there's Kentucky there with the block, and Kentucky continues their run.
Craig Skinner told us pregame, coming into this match, he feels like this is the best serving team he has at Kentucky. He loves the way that they're being aggressive from the service line and really putting it on passers. Now, they've obviously started off a great job with Molly Tuzzo.
5-0 run.
Tuzzo again. Again, another good serve.
It's a line drive.
handled by Nebraska, but Rebecca Alec was off the mark. A 6-0 run for Kentucky.
And this is a team for Kentucky that needs to serve tough. They want to use their speed, and they also know rallies are going to be extended against a team like Nebraska, so their hitter coverage is crucial.
Worth pointing out, Molly Tuzzo would be a starting libero on most teams in the country if it were not for Eleanor Bevan being a true senior here for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Craig Skinner determined to get her on the court as much as possible, and she just showed that at the service line. That run ends with a service error, so it was a 6-0 run for Kentucky to put them on top 7-3. And now Lexi Rodriguez, speaking of great liberos. Rome, Baltimore, off the mark, point Nebraska. Rodriguez in her final season in Lincoln, a 4-year starter, a 3-year captain, 2-time first-team All-American, All-American 3 times overall. That's a big swing from Asia Thigpen, freshman from Pittsboro, North Carolina.
And Craig Skinner knew that Asia Thigpen would be on the floor tonight. He didn't know what capacity, but you see her defensive specialist out of the back row with the kill.
So you'll see her come in for Erin Lamb, who's playing outside right now. She just checked into the game. Thigpen will play in the back row.
A great hustling play by Tuzzo. Who else? Free ball at the net, and Beeson takes advantage.
Really nice timing by Merritt Beeson there, tracking that ball. It was a great first touch by Molly Tuzzo. Unfortunately, Eleanor Bevan sends that a little bit too tight. Heads-up play by Merritt Beeson. Exactly what you'd expect from the leader on this Nebraska team. One
of the great stars in college volleyball, the senior from Gardendale, Alabama, in her 2nd year now in Nebraska with the serve. Off hands, good hustling play by DeLay, but it heads out of play, and it's a point for Nebraska. 25th year for John Cook at Nebraska, 689 wins, 4 national titles, his 31st season overall, the AVCA National Coach of the Year last year. We didn't want to dig up too many questions from how last year ended, but we did ask, was he shocked by what happened against Texas in the national championship? Shook his head right away, said, I thought we were going to win the national championship. I thought we had the team. It was our moment. All credit to Texas for how great they played in Tampa coming out of the Stanford Regional.
Texas came in and really took care of Wisconsin and Nebraska by serving the ball exceptionally well on the big stage.
But you have to think, guys, that it's invaluable experience because there are so many true sophomores over on this Nebraska team at this point. They were true freshmen a year ago. That experience playing on that stage in a national title game has to do good for them going into this season. They have to be comfortable with each other on the biggest of stages.
No seniors, of course, as well documented on last year's team, and Cook has said we are the most motivated team in the country. Motivated Nebraska is a
dangerous thing.
A frightening thing. Lamb tried to throw it down, and she does successfully. Kentucky up 3 here in set number 1.
Emma Grome, the setter for Kentucky, is so good at pushing that pace out to the left pin, and Erin Lamb's able to sneak that one through the block.
Here is Baltimore back to serve. Catches the tape. Good diving save for Nebraska's Andy Jackson. It turns into a point for Nebraska.
That's just a heads-up play by Harper Murray. She recognizes that you've got a middle blocker back to serve. Middle blockers sometimes are not the greatest of defenders. I think that's fair to say. She lays a tip right in front of Baltimore, out of her reach. Just a really nice job of recognizing who's in the back row at a given time by Harper Murray.
Can I borrow your phone? This is when your middle blocker friends start texting you saying...
It'll happen. Yes, it'll happen.
Do not insult us time and again, Kate.
I think there's a trend that middle blockers are taking more pride in their serve and their defense these days. Way higher level.
They're trying to be more complete players.
Yeah, they're usually so tall, though. It's hard to get down there.
But usually they're good servers, high contact point. Asia O'Neal for Texas last year came up with some big digs.
Her serving runs were incredible, too.
Back row tap from Beeson, but the single block. Jordan Daly, redshirt freshman. She didn't play last year, but Craig Skinner loves how she handles herself
to
at the net.
Big stage. One-on-one on an island. You know what you're going to get from Merritt Beeson coming up the middle out of that back row. She's getting all the love from her teammates for that stuff block.
As she should. They go away from Daly this time. Good save there by Grome. Lamb off the net. Grome with the dig. It was Bevan with the first save. Lamb tries to drop it in. Big swing. Dug out by Bevan again. Lamb dials one up for the Kentucky kill. Great point for Kentucky. Craig Skinner loves it.
Kentucky came up with some big digs, stayed in the rally, and got a few opportunities. Lamb finally able to go to work after this dig by Bevan. Look at Grome push that pace again to the left side, and Lamb works through the block.
Here's Grome with the serve. Three-time AVCA All-American, but a service error. Point for Nebraska.
And I think, Holly, what Grome does such a nice job of is even when they're in medium situations, not a perfect pass, she gets her feet there and she takes an average situation and makes it a better one and puts her hitters in positions to succeed. That's the mark, I think, of a veteran setter.
Definitely. That's what makes Emma Grome special.
Third on Kentucky's all-time assist list as she enters her final season with the Wildcats. Kennedy Orr with the serve for Nebraska. Riley with the bump set. We've seen the return of Lindsay Krause, who missed most of last year. Last played October 14th last season because of an injury, and a point for Nebraska.
That time, Merritt Beeson out of the back row, finds some space to operate. You see the cover play on this tight ball and then the pipe down the middle. Daly took a step left.
Third kill for Beeson. Lamb leading the way for Kentucky so far with 3 kills. And Kentucky gets the point back. A little bit of a frustrated look for John Cook. We talked to all 4 coaches for these 2 matchups leading up to the matches here today, and it's such a challenge because you don't really have time to figure out who you are or what you have, but you have to figure things out against a top 10 opponent here tonight.
But Craig Skinner told us, he said, look, we can learn way more about ourselves tonight than we can in a 3-0 victory no matter what happens. We're going to get challenged, we're going to get exposed, and that's going to help us grow.
There's the Nebraska block. Rebecca Alec leading the charge at the net.
Rebecca Alec is just so dynamic laterally with her footwork. She's so fast and able to close and gain speed the closer she gets to those pin side blockers. Great job by Becca Alec.
Grome. Wilson is blocked. Scramble for it. It's a point for Kentucky. We've reached our first media timeout of the first match of the season, and the Kentucky Wildcats are up by 4.
At Domino's, we've heard in focus groups that some people don't love our classic crust.
Too doughy.
It's not thin enough.
So here's another pizza.
All the ingredients come together.
And so what if I told you this was Domino's?
Good for Domino's, for real.
Introducing Domino's New York style pizza. Try it tonight.
Well, it was a remarkable freshman year for Harper Murray on the court, but since the national championship match in Tampa, it's been a complicated offseason. She said she takes full responsibility for her actions and has also focused on her mental health. Much of what she's dealt with was documented in the excellent E60 documentary, There's No Place Like Nebraska. Hope you've had a chance to see that. It'll also be shown after our second match tonight. Tonight, turning the page on a new season. And I'm sure thrilled to be on the court so far for Murray. She's got a couple of kills on 7 swings. She'll watch here as Kentucky puts it into play out of the media timeout. Riley with the quick set to the middle. And Rebecca Alec, it is Rebecca, formerly.
Coming off a great season a year ago, Rebecca Alec is so dynamic as a blocker, but also can be an offensive threat as well. On a quick 1 set here from Bergen Riley, she's got either option, either side of the court. She goes wrist away there, deep to zone 5. Excellent swing.
Delay on serve receive. Set for Wilson. Riley, Murray back on the court. There's Thigpen for Kentucky. Krause on the attack. Oh, great job, and Thigpen almost got there, but it's a point for Nebraska. So Lindsay Krause, as I mentioned, her last match was October 14th against Penn State. 14 total matches, had an ankle injury. John Cook did not have her at his disposal for that run to the championship game. So good to see her back on the court. Just adds to this amazing depth for this Nebraska team.
Yeah, she's got an absolute cannon.
So does Merritt Beeson.
The defensive transition from Nebraska has been so impressive. They're trying to go quick to Wilson for Kentucky on the right side, but Rebecca Alex so quick to block that ball, and Nebraska just turning those digs into points.
Rousey with the serve. Delay.
This is just such a nice job by Emma Grome. Heck of a serve from Nebraska. Kentucky's in an out-of-system situation, so Emma Grome's on the run. Look, she runs past the 10-foot line, still is able to put delay in a quick, in-tempo, in-system set, even though the pass didn't warrant it. Really nice job by Grome getting her feet there.
Tuzzo back to serve. She had that great service run. Kentucky had a 6-0 run to go in front, but one and done this time out for Tuzzo. Point Nebraska. Rodriguez back to serve. Another back row attack for Thigpen. Beeson. Tuzzo with the set. A little too tight at the net. Grove keeps it alive. Good save by Riley. Beeson off hands. Point Nebraska.
Bodies on the floor, keeping the ball up for Nebraska. Merritt Beeson finishes the job off the hands of the Kentucky's block. I'll tell you, Kentucky has missed some opportunities with their transition setting.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times, too tight, unhittable balls.
Rome looks for the point. Katie George's favorite right there.
You gotta love a two-shoot from an undersized setter. Just when you think she's gonna go out to one of the pins, she just shoots it sideways right over the net. Skirt, skirt. Right to the donut is what we like to call that, Eric. Don't get hungry, it's gonna be a long night.
We do need a between match snacks. Or are there donut shops around here? That sounds good.
Let's see what we can do.
That's some quick attack right there. And a big swing by Andy Jackson.
Andy Jackson.
$3.99 last year.
Sorry, I'm just so excited because she's so unbelievably explosive. My goodness, she gets up on a 31 gap set. Look at the angle she's able to cut there because of how high and she elevates, able to contact that ball at such a high point.
Kentucky gets it back. Wildcats definitely in the fight here. First set.
Nebraska has to be aware that the setter is front row. She's already attacked the ball with that two-hand set over. A blocker needs to stay on Emma Grome when she's in the front row.
Holly, were you an aggressive attacking setter?
Sometimes. I preferred setting my hitters, but every once in a while it's important to attack and keep them honest.
Holly loves sharing the wealth. You did too, Kate. That's going to head out of play. That's another point for Kentucky. We creep closer and closer to the 20-point mark. We played a 25.
I have to say, Kentucky's done a nice job getting some key block touches at the net, really slowing these Nebraska attackers down so that their defense can put up good balls behind them.
Nebraska fans, and there are plenty of them, trying to rally the Huskers. And it's a service error for Kentucky. We've seen a handful of those so far here in the first set.
But that's going to happen when you're putting service pressure on a team like Nebraska. You have to go for it.
That's 4 service errors for Kentucky here in set 1. Choboy with the serve for Nebraska. Huskers trail by 1. Delay recovers to keep it alive. Lamb hangs in the air. Flying save by Choboy. Off hands, drops in. Krause point. We're tied at 19.
And Nebraska wants to attack Emma Grome. She's the shortest front row player for Kentucky. And you'll see them push it out to Lindsey Krause. Look at Choboy. Does what she does best. Slides under that ball, keeps it alive. Transition point, Nebraska.
Tight first set in the best of 5. Nebraska looking to retake the lead. Rome to Daly. Rodriguez, Krause.
Lindsay Krause does an excellent job here. Out of system situation, goes thumb down, wrist away, cross court to that hard, sharp zone 5 angle. Really nice swing there by Lindsay Krause.
And the Kentucky block was inside. They just couldn't stop it.
So a timeout called here. Nebraska in front for the first time since they led 3-2 here in the first set. They're up by 1, 20-19. This Labor Day weekend, we have a full slate of great college football matchups on ESPN and ABC. It starts Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, North Dakota State taking on Colorado. Then Friday, 7 Eastern time on ESPN, Temple in Oklahoma. Saturday, noon, ABC, Clemson, Georgia. 3:30 Eastern time, ABC. Katie will be in the swamp for Miami and Florida. And then 7:30 on Saturday night, Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And it gets better. Sunday, 7:30, USC and LSU, all coming up this Labor Day weekend. So Nebraska is in front. Merritt Beeson has been a big reason why.
Merritt Beeson already has 5 kills on 10 swings, hitting 300 with 2 digs. But it's the big swings, and she's always composed for this Nebraska team. So fun to watch, and she's one of the top 10 volleyball players heading into this season that we have listed.
You can see why first team All-American, first team All-Big Ten, almost 4 kills a set, hit 282 for the Huskers. Delay, that's blocked back and a point for Nebraska. And it's Andy Jackson with the celebration.
Kind of an interesting play here from Kentucky. Brooklyn delays in the back row. She doesn't come straight up the middle. She actually kind of goes on this slide behind the setter. Unfortunately for her, Nebraska's Andy Jackson is all over it.
4-0 run for the Huskers. Kentucky getting a little tight here late, but you turn it over to the big swing of Erin Lamb, and she makes everything all right.
Erin Lamb, number 13 in blue, has never been afraid to take big swings. No different tonight. Well-formed block in front of her, and Andy Jackson, the middle blocker for Nebraska, is so good at closing that block, but Lamb found a way.
Emma Grome. Riley sets it back. That's in. Andy Jackson.
Perimeter swing, high contact point. That's unstoppable.
She's just so dynamic, and she elevates so well off the ground, off of 1 foot specifically behind. It's hard to stop.
Grome for Lamb. Lamb throws it down for another Kentucky point.
Nice play by Erin Lamb there, recognizing the block actually is not going to close in time. And so what she does is she just tips that ball, throws down right between the 2 blockers in the seam, takes advantage of what's before her.
Back for Erin Lamb to serve. Alec. Oh, found the opening and got the point for Nebraska.
That starts with Lainey Choboy. Heck of a serve receive from her.
Incredible, getting that ball up to Bergen Riley, and then Jordan Daly, late to chase her middle, pulls off the net, and Rebecca Alec recognizes that for Nebraska.
We have a little technical difficulty right here, trying to get different camera angles and replays. We're working quickly on it right now. That's why we're going old school with this camera 1 located.
I love old school.
Oh,
Nice
great save.
Choboy.
Beauty of this is you can see the entire court the entire time and see that ground that was just covered to get there to keep it alive for Nebraska. Bodies continue to fly around. That's the center, Riley down. Grome for delay. So you can see a little bit of looking around. If you haven't noticed, we don't have line judges here today. We're using Bolt 6 technology to determine if balls are in or out.
I think Craig Skinner was waiting for the replay on the Jumbotron to decide if he wanted to challenge or not.
Now we play on. It is set point for Nebraska. Off hands, Nebraska a chance to take set one right here. Rodriguez, Krause, and a really good return to the court for Nebraska. She caps it off with a swing. Her fourth kill, no attack errors in the first set, and Nebraska takes set one 25-21. The teams change ends. The season is underway here in Louisville at the AVCA First Serve Showcase.
Welcome to the American Volleyball Coaches Association, where champions are made. Join a community of more than 10,000 volleyball coaches from all levels of the sport and take part in premier events.
Nebraska and Texas meeting for the national championship.
One of the greatest seasons we've ever had in Nebraska. So this match isn't going to define that. Hopefully it'll motivate us to get back here in 2024.
I know everyone's going to be very motivated to get it done next year.
I think we're going to win 3 national championships the next 3 years.
We all know how it ended and laying the groundwork for what was to come after sweeping Pittsburgh in the national semifinal, holding the Panthers to 137 hitting, 15 blocks. It was all Texas in that championship. Now John Cook's team in a 2024 season opener against 9th-ranked Kentucky with a good start. 25-21 in set one. They hit 353 in that opening set. Take a look at the season outlook. Texas, the #1 team in the preseason poll. Every starter is back. There wasn't a senior on last year's team. So much talent on this team. Very deep team. We haven't seen Taylor Landfair yet make her debut. Layla Blackwell, 2 players from the transfer portal. What changed, Holly and Katie, in that first set? Remember, Kentucky went on a 6-0 run. They had control, but then Nebraska flipped the script. What happened?
Well, it's the red zone, right? When the score hits 20, Nebraska steps up. This is a team that knows how to win. We saw it all last year. They won 27 matches in a row, and we talked about the motivation from last year. They're hungrier than ever.
Set 2 underway for Kentucky. Big Pen with the serve. Here's Rodriguez. Delay, tries to find an opening. Rodriguez back to Krause on the block. And Rodriguez got a hand on it. It's a point for Kentucky.
We also have the unique perspective this evening with these 2 matches to have all 4 head coaches mic'd up. And we'll obviously show you some of that sound as we go throughout the course of the night. But during intermission, you heard Craig Skinner tell his team, we started off serving lights out. We served the crap out of the ball the first 5 points of the game, and then it slowly kind of let off. We let off the gas. We got to continue to put it on Nebraska as we get further and further into this match.
So an aggressive serve there from Big Pen, misses the mark. You'll live, though, you touched on it a little earlier, Holly, you'll live with some service errors. You've got to be aggressive from the service line.
Definitely, you cannot take your foot off the gas, especially against such a deep Nebraska team.
Riley serves for the Huskers. Set back and a big swing from the right side from Megan Wilson.
And that's a new look for Megan Wilson. One of old, but last season for Kentucky, she played predominantly on the outside pin. Reagan Rutherford was on the right. She's transferred to Texas, so they've moved Megan Wilson out to that right side pin where she feels like it's a very natural home base for her.
Alec to Beeson. Big Pen couldn't control it. Point Nebraska.
And Nebraska was out of system on that play, but you see the disciplined approach by Merritt Beeson paying off, finding a way to still score high off the hands.
Krause serves. Quick set. Riley was ready for it. Rodriguez drops it back to Harper Murray with the big swing and a Nebraska point.
What a beautiful transition set for Nebraska. And Harper Murray knows what to do with it. Watch this ball. Bergen Riley puts it up. Lexi Rodriguez sets it a little inside, and Harper Murray goes to town.
Tough one for Wilson. Got caught out of play, and a point for Nebraska.
You are not allowed to double contact the ball when you're going over the net, only on your side of the net. And that's a new rule this year. On second contact, you're able to double contact the ball.
Oh, that's a hard one to handle, and it's a point for Nebraska. They stretch it out to a 3-point lead here in the second rather. Krause at the line. Rodriguez calls for it, sets it for Murray. Murray again. Back row attack from Thigpen. That's someone who would not have showed up on any scouting report because the freshman making her collegiate debut here today, and she's come up with a few points.
She's got ups. If you think Emma Groh might be going back to Megan Wilson or to her middle blocker on a gap swing, and then she just throws it really short, shallow for Asia Thigpen to go up and swing out of the back row. Just makes the offense a little bit more dynamic by throwing in a fourth arm there to keep an eye on.
Tuzo with the serve. Battle at the net, won by Nebraska.
Rebecca Alec owns the net for Nebraska. Watch her just dominate, and then Harper Murray, I think, finished that one off, but she is just fierce defensively at the net.
Rodriguez the serve for Nebraska. There's been a couple of tough ones for these attackers for Kentucky to handle, and it results in a point for Nebraska, and Rodriguez will serve again.
Lots of new players on the floor for Kentucky, and they're working through some things. That setter-hitter connection.
Mentioned the loss of Reagan Rutherford, Johnny Teeler, who was a fixture on this Kentucky team. Thigpen, Rodriguez was ready for her this time. And off the hands, Murray with the attack.
It's a really nice job by Harper Murray because Bergen Riley goes to the back row. I mean, she sends a really high set out to this outside pin. Harper Murray has to redirect her footwork, regain her footing, and still is able to jump up and get a kill. Great job by Harper Murray, and you see Nebraska out to an early 5-point lead here in set number 2 from the KFC Yum Center.
At Jimmy John's, just $10 gets you a full 8 inches of any original sandwich, Jimmy chips, drink, and a dessert. It's a deal so good, we didn't have to spend a lot on this ad. Oh, but we could afford confetti. Order the $10 total package meal only at Jimmy John's.
There are men coming here to kill you.
Give up the girl, or he'll send every killer in the city after you.
AVCA First Serve Showcase here in Kentucky. I want to talk about this catapult monitor that Kentucky Volleyball is currently wearing. It's kind of like a sports bra. You can see the monitor right here. They wear it during practices and during games, and it shows how intense they're practicing and playing. It also monitors their workload. So they'll go to Craig Skinner before the practice, and they'll say, how exactly intense do you feel like this practice is going to be? And then they're able to measure whether or not that practice was intense. There's numbers that they kind of track throughout practice, and they're able to see whether or not the players are getting out of practice what they're supposed to be getting.
Did they have that technology when the two of you were playing? What was the measure of how tough practice was back in your day when you were playing?
If we crawled out of the gym or not, basically, and we did that on the regular.
Crawling was good, right?
Are you making an old joke to the two of us? No, we didn't have that technology when we played.
That's out of play, a point for Kentucky. What was the breakthrough in technology back in your playing?
I think we had a speed gun. You could measure how fast our serves were. That was bells and whistles back then.
I mean, we're pulling out bells and whistles and technology here. We talked about the Bolt 6 system, which is being used for replays if we get the challenges and in and out calls. That one's going to be just long. It's going to be a point for Nebraska. We've got this insane jib camera that is over us right now, bringing you some amazing views of the KFC Yum Center. I tried to get Jocelyn, our director, to hook you up there in a harness. Have you ever been to a Pink concert, Katie?
I have, actually, here at this very venue.
I wanted you on that jib and just have Jocelyn spin you around while you were talking about this matchup here today.
Nobody wants to see
wanted that to happen.
No,
I talked her out of it. That's out, point Kentucky.
Harper Murray, crossbody swing down that line. Lit it up, but just wide.
I mean, this is a big event, so you need the extra big jib down there in the corner. So we've got all sorts of bells and whistles going off here today. Here's Rodriguez. Jackson. Point Kentucky.
In two really good runs by Bergen Riley. I love that she brought Harper Murray inside on a gap set on the previous play. She runs Annie Jackson, a tried and true slide. Unfortunately, just 2 attacks a little bit wide.
Murray. Chance here for the Wildcats. Delay goes with the soft roll. Kentucky down by 4, still in this point. Lamb, Rodriguez with the pancake. Great save by Lexi Rodriguez, and that heads out of play, and it's a point for Nebraska.
Does a free ball count as a kill from Harper Murray? That was a tough free ball she sent over.
It was, had some pace, but Lexi Rodriguez, wow, 2 balls in the middle of the court that were for sure kills. She kept alive.
So Craig Skinner has brought out the challenge card. So you can see the crowd here at the KFC Yum Center has been alerted that there's a challenge.
So you have to wonder if Craig Skinner is challenging Lexi Rodriguez's pancake, that maybe he didn't think that her hand got underneath the ball on that first contact when the ball came over.
So part of the bells and whistles that I mentioned, this Bolt 6 technology, is these high frame rate cameras. So we should be able to get a really sharp look. You can see Rodriguez on the left side there. They'll use our cameras. They'll use fixed cameras. I think she got there.
I thought so too.
I think it hit her wrist, if anything.
Well, are they looking perhaps too for the double contact? Holly talked about the rule change. Like if you double but over the net, that's not allowed. Or they're looking, was there contact? We got a lot of things going on here. Take your pick. Multiple choice for what they could be challenging here, perhaps.
Yeah, but, I mean, look at how much ground Lexi Rodriguez is able to cover. I mean, she's set up on that back line over there, and she comes all the way across the court through the middle to be able to pop that ball up. That's why she's one of the best liberos in the country.
So this is the Bolt look right there. And that is a pretty cool replay that you can clearly see. And they were showing it to the crowd here at the same time. And I think you can tell the Nebraska fans are pretty happy with the outcome.
Lexi Rodriguez just went to work. What a dig. Perfectly executed pancake. I'll tell you, she's crashing the middle. That's not an easy ball to pick up.
So the Bolt 6 replay used in this doubleheader here tonight. There are no line judges. They have these cameras spread out around the arena to kind of catch all the lines and plays like that where Rodriguez got her hand under it. So an unsuccessful challenge for Kentucky. That's blocked out of play. Point for Kentucky.
Aaron Lamb taking a big swing off the block of Jackson, tooling it out of bounds. Trying to find tools to score points for Kentucky.
And now you've got Emma Grohm back to serve for Kentucky, one of the best servers on this team. And we saw Molly Tuzzo go on a run early in set 1. If you're Kentucky, you really got to be aggressive from the service line and try to get this Nebraska offense out of system as best you can. It's hard to do because you got Lexi Rodriguez and Lainey Choboy back here, but maybe you go down the line and try to key in on Lindsey Krause.
You mentioned before, Craig Skinner liked when his team was aggressive with the serve early in the match. They went away from that as that first set went on. Andy Jackson there for Nebraska off the touch. The point for the Huskers.
I think it's a mistake if you're serving Lexi Rodriguez. Play keep away. I mean, she's keeping them in system. Craig Skinner talked about maybe loading up the left side, whoever's in the front row, but you want to serve away from Lexi Rodriguez of Nebraska.
And you know, that's what Texas did such a nice job of in the national championship game last December in Tampa. They completely avoided Lexi Rodriguez because she pashes nails.
What was the total last year? Texas aced Nebraska 12 times in that 3-setter. Just a pause here for our officials, and now we're set and ready to go, and Kennedy Orr will serve. Rodriguez with 6 digs so far here tonight. Orr's got it. There's Krause, blocked back. Save. Showboy and Krause teaming up. Lamb unable to control it was Kennedy Orr, and it's a point for the Wildcats. Aaron Lamb will head back to serve for Kentucky.
Aaron Lamb's having an excellent match for Kentucky. She's got 8 kills on 14 attempts, 0 errors. She's doing a great job taking care of the ball.
Riley sets it back to Beeson. Now that's a good job by the libero for Kentucky. Bevan to keep it up. Krause blocked. Rodriguez kept it alive. Oh, what a diving play, but Showboy just couldn't get over the net, and she paid the price. Extended her arm out fully and put a lot of weight on that arm that was contacting the court, it would appear.
Lainey Showboy is relentless defensively. She plays every play this way. There's no slow up.
Wildcats get a quick point off the touch from Nebraska. And a timeout's being called here by Nebraska. Kentucky fighting back.
I've been really impressed with Jordan Daly in the middle defensively, blocking for Kentucky.
What was interesting, because we didn't really know what Jordan Daly and Brooke Baltimore were going to look like for Kentucky, because we've been so used to seeing Johnny Teeler and other veterans play for them in that middle position. But I agree with you. Jordan Daly's been so fast in the middle with her blocks. Craig Skinner said she's probably one of the most natural blockers he's ever coached. Brooke Baltimore, a little bit more offensive, but it's always, I think, as a setter, a little bit stressful when you've got newness to play with, especially because the middle is such an important role. We think of them more as defensive players, but offensively, they got to be able to produce.
Not worried about how we just did, but what we're going to do right now on this point. Okay, find a way to execute, be engaged right now. Let's do it here.
Live in the huddle with Craig Skinner, checking out some of the data as well after talking to his team as they push back here in the second set. They lost set 1, 25-21. They watched Nebraska hit 353 in that set. Nebraska hitting 053 here in this second set.
Both teams hitting under 100 in this second set.
Can Kentucky continue to build the momentum? Now down by 2. Lamb with the serve, and it's a good one. Boy, you're right, Katie. She's had a great match. Remember how her season ended last year? The last game of the season, she had 15 kills in that NCAA tournament, lost to Arkansas. She's been great here tonight, too.
And last year, she was banged up a little bit. She wasn't 100% healthy, so we saw that consistency fluctuate. She's been great so far tonight. As soon as I say that, of course, it goes a little bit long. But she's got such a high contact point on that serve. She really puts a lot of nice pace on it.
So Lamb will head out as Thigpen will come on. And back to serve goes Bergen Riley. Big Ten Setter of the Year a season ago, the first freshman to win that award. Average better than 10 assists a set. Alec picks it up. Alec, the quick set from Riley for the point.
What a feed from Bergen Riley to Rebecca Alec, tacking the seam right between the right side blocker and the middle blocker for Kentucky.
And sometimes those throws and tips and dinks and dunks are actually more difficult to defend than an attack.
Oh, great job by Riley, but they're going to say it was down. Why are they tougher to defend than a standard attack? Those dinks and those dunks.
Well, I think when you're attacking and you're hitting it from a high point, you can set up your read easier as a defender. When you're throwing it from behind your head, you can't see the angle that it's coming from. You can't see the trajectory of it.
Or the speed.
Exactly,
really
so it makes it really hard to read and react to.
Point for the Wildcats.
Great placement.
Well, what I liked about that play for Kentucky is Bevan put up a really nice transition set. And in the first set, I don't think Kentucky was as clean. Look at that nice lift. And then Brooklyn DeLay finds that corner open.
Good serve by Bevan. Jumps in to keep it alive. Beeson. Riley. Krause off balance. That drops off the net, and it's a point for Kentucky. The Wildcats continue to claw back. They've tied it at 14.
That time, Megan Wilson just working inside the block. Patience, not trying to hit that ball too hard. But that ball falls for Kentucky, and the defense and tough serving game has been the difference.
And now we've got a substitution. Our first sighting of Taylor Landfair, the transfer from Minnesota. She comes into the game for Lindsay Krause here.
Beeson. Big Pen with the dig. That one's down. It is a point for Nebraska.
I love it. You've got Nebraska fans sitting behind us saying, setter, setter. They want to see Taylor Landfair take a swing as a Nebraska Cornhusker. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Bergen Riley knew. Everybody thought that she would set the new kid, but no, she's playing it just a step ahead here, although Landfair is going to check out right now because they'll bring on the serving sub for Nebraska. And it's Olivia Mount, freshman from Bennington, Nebraska, who will come on. Look out.
Brooklyn DeLay gets on top of that ball quick for Kentucky. Really nice pass by DeLay, and then look at her work the outside hand of Merritt Beeson on that right side.
That deflection was heading for Holly and Katie, and I jumped in front of it.
You did. You saved us.
So chivalrous of you.
You were hiding under the table.
Chivalry is not dead here on this side of the table, that's for sure. See the total errors for Kentucky, 8. Feels like a lot, but I think Craig Skinner would agree they have to continue to be aggressive if they have a chance here. Here's Rodriguez. Good set for DeLay, who can get that big arm fired up.
And again, this pass is on the 10-foot line for Kentucky, but Emma Grom does a nice job running it down. Gets her feet there, jump sets and pivots, still puts DeLay in an in-system swing. She goes cross-court for the kill.
DeLay back to serve, the sophomore, who's really worked on this part of her game as well. There's a lot on it. Can she get it into play? Yes. Murray on the serve receive. Point Kentucky.
And that's just the benefit of a topspin serve like that. It is coming at you so fast, even if you're able to get a good platform on it, like Harper Murray did, she can't absorb it and keep it on her side of the net.
And that's something that Brooklyn DeLay's been working on since last spring. She played with it last season, but it wasn't consistent enough.
You were saying.
Risk reward, high risk reward.
So that lead for Kentucky was their first since they led 2-1 here in this second set. Remember, Nebraska led by 5 here in set 2. So the Wildcats come back. Beeson goes long, service error for Nebraska, so they give the point right back. And Kentucky's back in front here in the second set.
Now, if you remember in this rotation, Baltimore served and Harper Murray made a heads-up play. She tipped right over the block in front of her, trying to get Baltimore on the tip.
They serve it at the freshman. Now, here's Murray. Good contact. Not much Kentucky can do with that as Murray delivers with the kill. That's her 5th. Murray will check out, as will the freshman Mount. Landfair is back on. And back to serve is Choboy. Tied at 18, we played at 25. And that was a little too aggressive from Andy Jackson at the net. Point Kentucky.
Andy Jackson of Nebraska is not allowed to block the setter as she's trying to set the ball.
If the ball's in the middle of the plane of the net, it's fair game, but if it's on Kentucky's side, she cannot interfere. A little greedy, a little greedy.
Just a bit. Paid for it. Point Kentucky. misses the mark for the Wildcats. That's the third service error this set and the 10th of the match. Kennedy Orr back to serve, tied at 19. Set back for Lamb. Nebraska ready for her. From the back row, Beeson sent back. Wilson leading the charge at the net. Daly there as well.
I'm just waiting for that set to land fair on the outside, but here's Merritt Beeson out of the back row. Good help by Megan Wilson coming in from the left side to help Daly on the block in the middle.
Well, Kentucky with a block edge over Nebraska. Kentucky last year was 10th in the SEC in blocks per set.
Okay, now we've crossed the line. I said it's good to be aggressive from the service line, but now that's 11, and this is crunch time.
The rule of thumb, when you get to 20, you want to play errorless volleyball. Even if you're trying to be aggressive from the service line, you got to be able to make it play.
Well, then given back by Nebraska, so a mistake by the Huskers. That helps Kentucky out. So do you change your mindset serving now for Kentucky? Do you have to pull off the gas a little bit?
Tough but in.
No lollipops, Eric.
All right, Eleanor Bevan, no lollipops. Rodriguez calls for it, sets Beeson.
Two nice digs by Bevan.
Choboy dug it out on the hit by DeLay.
That's 3 for Bevan.
Back row attack, Big Pen too strong. And was it a touch? Yes, they say it was a touch. It's a point for Kentucky. I think John Cook is going to protest this. Although he hasn't grabbed the challenge card, I haven't seen yet. Maybe he's just going to call a timeout.
It looked like a net violation. Kentucky's players were pointing at a net, and the referee looked like she agreed.
So the timeout is called by John Cook.
Good eyes by you, Holly.
Thank you.
2-point advantage for Kentucky. Remind you, a lot of college football coming up this weekend. Are you ready for the swamp? Do you have dry, breathable clothing to wear when you'll be there?
Got sunscreen.
Miami and Florida. That's coming up Saturday. Before we get there, it's Colorado and North Dakota State, the Bison and the Buffaloes, Thursday night. Friday night on ESPN, Temple and Oklahoma. Saturday, triple header, ABC, Clemson, Georgia, Miami, Florida, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and then Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. It's USC and LSU. All right, so we take you back to that last point for Kentucky, net violation. Yeah, there's no touch. I thought maybe there was a touch, but there was a point at the net. I think you just go down a little bit, that arm right there. There's your contact.
Merritt Beeson. In this second set, Kentucky is hitting 207, Nebraska hitting 0.
After they hit 353 in set 1. Good serve there for Kentucky. Here's Beeson. Off the block and a point for Nebraska.
Nice job there by Nebraska. Kentucky's clearly serving Taylor Landfair. They're able to side out efficiently to get out of that. Now you see if she can go on a run with her serve.
So here is Taylor Landfair. First team Big Ten for a third time last year with Minnesota in her Nebraska debut tonight. Huskers did well to keep it alive. And
nice
they do
game.
so again with Riley on the save. Tight at the net, Murray. Riley resets for Murray. Set by the libero. Back for DeLay, who rolls it in. Point for Kentucky.
DeLay kept that point going initially when she was able to just throw down the ball and keep it out of the antenna. We've seen a lot of shots from Brooklyn DeLay. I think that's shown her evolution and progress from her freshman year to her sophomore.
More tools.
Tuzzo on to serve for Kentucky. 2 points away from evening things up here in Louisville. Riley for Beeson, who drops the hammer. Point Nebraska.
Kentucky testing Harper Murray in serve receive, and Harper Murray puts up a dime.
Rodriguez on to serve for the Huskers. Delay. Nope. Point Nebraska. Tied at 23.
Emma Grome was on the run there. I think she left that ball a little low and a little inside, so Brooklyn Delay couldn't quite get on top of it. Instead, she has to push it, and she pushes it long.
So now a challenge from Craig Skinner, and he's going to challenge whether or not there was a touch by Nebraska on that swing. For the moment, we're tied at 23. If this challenge is successful, it'll be set point for Kentucky. So here's a look from the Bolt replay. So the challenge upheld. A successful challenge for Kentucky. They say there was a touch after looking at the Bolt's angle. So that does mean it is set point for the Wildcats. Delay with the serve. Tied at the net, free ball. Kentucky takes set 2.
High risk, high reward. Brooklyn Delay puts a really nice topspin serve into play. Results in a discombobulated, out-of-system situation for Nebraska, and you've got Brooke Boltema, who throws it down to tie things up 1 set apiece here in Louisville.
So a good challenge by Craig Skinner, and then Delay and Kentucky put it away to even up at a set apiece as we head to the locker rooms for a brief intermission. And before we get there, here is Craig Skinner with Christine.
Coach, you guys split the first 2 sets, and I know going into this match, you said that serving was the most important thing. Where would you rate your players serving so far in this matchup?
We're doing a great job. I mean, we missed a couple, but we're applying a lot of pressure, giving ourselves some opportunities out of system, which is what this team's identity needs to be. So we got to keep doing it. We're going to live with some errors, but it's a chance.
How do you make this a win for you guys tonight?
Definitely transition a little bit better, kill some balls and transition behind.
Transition better. We'll let Katie and Holly have their breakdown as we get to set number 3. Good response by Kentucky. Even up at a set apiece against Nebraska on opening night in Louisville.
Welcome to the American Volleyball Coaches Association, where champions are made. Join a community of more than 10,000 volleyball coaches from all levels of the sport and take part in premier events like the AVCA convention, which is held each December. Elevate your game by becoming a member of the AVCA.
Having a good time. It's a great way to start the season. First of 2 matches here tonight inside the KFC Yum Center. This is where the national championship will take place in December. Eric and Katie and Holly back with you here courtside. Great response by Kentucky. Nebraska took set 1. Kentucky comes back in set number 2. What was the difference in that second set for Kentucky, Holly?
Well, I thought Kentucky did a much better job transitioning. The first set, they had opportunities. They were right there till 2020. And the second set, they were able to execute. Nebraska made some errors, too. Their hitting percentage came way down. And Erin Lamb has been spectacular.
Erin Lamb, I think, was somewhat of a question mark coming into this. You know Brooklyn DeLay was going to bring it. She's the 2023 SEC Freshman of the Year. Who that L2 was and what kind of production going to be able to add. Question, and phenomenal tonight. Errorless. 9 kills, 16 attempts, errors. Not just from the in and her blocking, but what she's been able to do from the service line as well.
Well, let's show you what Erin Lamb has been doing so far in this match here tonight, because she has been error-free on the attack for Kentucky.
And she's not just getting it done with her kind of roundhouse, really powerful arm swing. She's mixed in some tips. She's used the block to her advantage. Right, she throws straight through the seam. She's just had a really good awareness of what's in front of her and how to utilize it, Holly.
And Brooklyn DeLay had a slow start. She was hitting negative numbers in the first set, and she's really done a nice job working her way back, finding ways to score and keep it alive.
It felt like Nebraska got better as set 1 went on, as if they played sharper as that set got to the nitty-gritty, right? 20 and beyond. We just saw too many hitting errors from Nebraska and a couple of key service errors from Nebraska in set 2. They clean that up. I think it's a different story.
So the momentum for the moment with the team in blue, the Kentucky Wildcats, who were picked 3rd in the SEC preseason poll. That's different, right? Because it's always been Kentucky and Florida. Kentucky has won an SEC title every season since 2017. But there's this addition of a team from Austin, Texas that has changed the dynamic in the SEC.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? The Big Ten welcomes Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC. ACC now has to deal with the likes of Stanford and SMU and Cal, but nobody got a bigger challenge than the SEC having to welcome the back-to-back national champions in Texas.
Third set ready to begin here at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville. Nebraska with the opening serve of this third set from Bergen Riley. Set for Rebecca Alec. That's her 6th kill of the night.
That's exactly how you want to start set 3. You force Kentucky out of system, you get a free ball, and then you execute with a kill from Rebecca Alec.
We could tell, as we just talked about before, John Cook was less than thrilled how his team finished in that second set. Was it what they were doing at the end of the second set? Was it Kentucky doing something that was throwing Nebraska off?
Well, I think it was the tough serving, right? That was one of the, they were going for it. And then the transition swings at big moments, Kentucky was able to do it better.
Craig Skinner told Christine, too, he didn't seem to be afraid of what they were doing from the service line. Just keep doing it. Be aggressive. Bevan couldn't save that one. Point for Nebraska, up 2-1 here in the third.
And now you see Nebraska's gone back to Lindsey Krause in the lineup. She gets a nice swing down the line for the kill. I'll be curious to see if we see Taylor Landfair again, but he's made the move back to Krause here.
Well, Taylor Landfair played, but they never set her. I was waiting.
Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
It looks that way.
There's a good serve. Bevan will track it down. How about that? Bevan almost got it in position for DeLay to do something with it, but out of reach. 3-1 Nebraska.
And Nebraska going after Brooklyn DeLay, making her pass the ball, catching her up high and getting them out of system.
They serve DeLay again. DeLay and serve receive. Nebraska, a little miscommunication. DeLay kept it alive. DeLay, Nebraska there with the block. Beeson, a little change up for the point.
That set went wide, and Merritt Beeson just chops that ball. A little redirect to the middle of the court, well placed.
Brooklyn DeLay had to take 3 heavy swings there on Kentucky's side. They've been out of system so often. If they get in system, Emma Grome has more options to use.
They serve DeLay again, making her work. Oh, quick set to the middle. Baltimore.
Yeah, I was just thinking Kentucky, when they're in system, needs to use their middles a little bit more. They're relying so much on their outsides. When they're out of system, try and push those middles to free things up.
Really impressive swing by Baltimore there. That was a pretty low and fast set, and she was still able to get on it.
Second kill for the freshman middle. And now Tuzzo with the serve. Beeson and the block. Point Kentucky. DeLay's been in the middle of everything here in this third set.
Brooklyn DeLay, the left side blocker, sets it up, gets out in front of Merritt Beeson, and then shuts it down.
So far, Kentucky out-blocking Nebraska as we play here in the third. Bevan, Grome, back row attack, Thigpen. Point Nebraska.
Thigpen going for that wrist away to the left deep corner, missing just long, but she's taking some big swings for Kentucky.
Lexi Rodriguez. Serves it to Tuzzo. Grome to DeLay. Grome back to Baltimore. Baltimore on the block.
Good recovery by Baltimore.
Grome DeLay, the block, led by Andy Jackson for Nebraska.
Andy Jackson laterally for Nebraska. We talk about the middle blockers for Nebraska. Look at her get out and close that block. Merritt Beeson does a nice job with her left hand, shutting that down as well.
Yeah, look, Beeson more than Jackson. They were both there for the Nebraska block and the point. Baltimore on the slide, and the Wildcats get the point.
I was talking to Katie Pohl, the athletic trainer for Kentucky, earlier today, just about how hard Brooke Baltimore worked. I was thinking about that monitor. Hard Brooke seems to be going in every play. Athleticism isn't as natural to her, so she's working a lot harder than a lot of these other girls, and that's something that they're able to monitor when it comes to the catapult.
You can tell, Christine, I mean, the middle blockers are by far the biggest workhorses on volleyball teams. They don't get all the pub and the fame and the notoriety because sometimes their work, I think, just goes undervalued or underrated. I always value it, I should say, maybe a little underrated. But by far, kudos to Baltimore. She's working hard in there.
Oh, there's another swing, another point for Erin Lamb in the double digits now with 10.
Also, middle blockers just have to cover so much ground. They have to be so physically in shape to do what they do laterally on the net as defenders, but then also to constantly be running on slides behind the setter.
Jordan Daly out there in the middle now for Kentucky. Service error for Craig Skinner's team, another one. He doesn't seem too concerned about it because, as he told Christine, as we've talked about quite often, just keep being aggressive with it. "13 service errors compared to 4 for Nebraska. And then Showboy, all of Nebraska's service errors, it feels like, have come right after Kentucky's service errors.
Back to back.
So Emma Grome will go back to serve, senior from Loveland, Ohio. Remember her challenge her freshman year? Following after Madison Lilly. Big shoes to fill, but she's done it well. Huskers get the point.
Nice job by Andy Jackson there. That means when the ball is able to skirt through, that the block is not fully sealed, and she was able to just power her way through that block on Kentucky's side.
And Jordan Daly for Kentucky realized that right away. She's got to be quicker with her press.
Grome to Lamb on the right side and on the block. Krause's there. Nebraska gets the point.
Lindsay Krause on that left side. She is a big presence, number 22 in red for Nebraska.
Timeout called by Kentucky. They've fallen behind by 4 here in set 3 in Louisville. Been a cool fan experience here in the building so far tonight. We got the MC light show going. And we've got the first of 2 matches between some of the marquee teams in college volleyball on the court. This is Kentucky, Nebraska, Louisville, and Wisconsin still to come here tonight from the KFC Yum Center. Out of the Kentucky timeout, Nebraska with the serve. Grom looks for Wilson on the outside, but misses the mark. And Nebraska stretches their lead to 5. Remember, they led 11-6 last set, but Kentucky came back and won that second set, 25-22. Grom, back row attack delay. Krause on the swing. Nothing Kentucky can do about that. Krause now has 6 kills in a return for Nebraska.
And I have to say, that speaks a lot to Lindsey Krause's mental toughness, right? You get pulled out in set 2 for Taylor Landfair, you come right back in set 3, and you're taking big swings and executing.
Rome. Delay got in the way. Didn't really realize it as Grom tried to get there, and it's unraveling a bit here for Kentucky in this 3rd set.
I'd still like to see Kentucky run their middles. Jordan Daly's in the front row right now. Can they use her? She's so quick offensively.
Craig Skinner's going to use his final timeout to try to slow this Nebraska run down. It's a 5-0 run.
And I think Nebraska's doing a nice job mixing in short serves right now. You've got Jordan Daly up there who already made a pass out of serve receive. Middle blockers aren't usually used to being in serve receive. They've done a nice job kind of yo-yoing Kentucky serve receive.
And short serves really limit the pass that you can run as an attacker, making it a very predictable offense.
Makes it a high traffic area by dropping in a short serve like that in serve receive.
We've seen Delay targeted quite a bit, the freshman targeted a little bit. You see when we show John Cook telling his server where he wants them to go, so kind of pulling the strings right here of how they're going to control things with the service game.
I think it's common for most teams to go after the L1, the L2, who's back in serve receive. You really want to wear down that outside hitter. It's one thing to have to go up and swing and try to get kills time and time again. It's another to constantly have to try to mentally pass a good ball every single time you're in serve receive. And right now, Nebraska's doing that with Brooklyn Delay.
Give credit to Kennedy Orr for executing things from the service line, mixing things up, trying to continue this run. A 5-0 run for Nebraska out of Kentucky's final timeout of this 2nd set. Once again, the serve to Delay. Lamb tried to throw it down. And that one is going to be another Nebraska point. All Huskers right now.
And now he's going to switch up his serve receive here. He's bringing Megan Wilson and Aaron Lamb back into the fold. So you're almost seeing him pass 4 here, Holly.
And Delay can't handle that. And Kennedy Orr continues the run for Nebraska.
And Kennedy Orr, very accurate serve going after Brooklyn Delay, trying to keep the pressure on her, finding her with 4 passers in the backcourt.
Delay from the back row, and that ends the run. So it was a 7-0 scoring run that put Nebraska on top 15-6 before that Kentucky point.
And I would say Kennedy Orr doesn't wow you with her pace. It's not coming at you super fast, but my goodness, the ball moves. She floats the crap out of the ball. That ball is fast.
Aaron Lamb attacking from the service line. Craig Skinner said, look, we've been really focused on our serve. We know it's an important part of our game to score points and set up transition opportunities.
Another good serve by Lamb. Grome sets it back for Wilson. Wilson off hands. They say no, I thought that was off hands. It's not going to be challenged. It's just a point for Nebraska.
I would have loved to see Emma Grome run that ball to Jordan Daly in the middle. No blocker in front of her for Nebraska. They know it's going to a pin.
16-8. Riley serves. Riley digs. Delay. Oh, great job. Choboy again. Riley goes to the court. Nebraska fans love it. And it's a point for the Huskers. Great defense by Nebraska.
Lainey Choboy is such a momentum player. When she makes ups like this, just throwing her body on the line, keeping things alive. Excellent job pursuing that ball. I like that Emma Grome ran the middle to Jordan Daly, like you mentioned, incorporating her more. I know it didn't result in a kill, but still trying to keep those blockers honest, I think will fare well for Kentucky moving forward.
It can pay off down the line.
17-8, Nebraska serving with the lead. Grome to the lane, and there's the defense again. Beeson and Alec with the block.
And for middle blockers, when you're not getting set, you're not always ready for it, and you've been set a lot. So Jordan Daly needs to be ready, and if you're Emma Grome, you're coaching her up, say, hey, be ready, I need you offensively.
Grome sets it back for Wilson, and Wilson has it sent back. Kentucky not done to the point yet, and Kentucky hangs with it. Good fight by the Wildcats to end the mini run by Nebraska. Eleanor Bevan comes on to serve for the Wildcats. Riley to Beeson. Kept alive and sent over by Grome. But then the quick set and the point for the Huskers.
Really nice job by Emma Grome to keep that alive for Kentucky, but it's a free ball essentially for Nebraska, and this is textbook. Great 31 set to Rebecca Alex. She gets on it fast, right through the seam. Heck of an angle, really difficult to defend.
Thigpen. Oh, that caught a hand, and so Thigpen gets the point for Kentucky.
That time, Asia Thigpen, she eased up a little, catches the edge of the block and goes long. Nice point by the freshman for Kentucky.
Here's Tuzzo. Kentucky could use a service run like she had in the first set. Wildcats had a 6-0 run while she served. Serves it to Rodriguez, which usually doesn't work out very well. She'll receive it. Nebraska will be in system and score.
I said it earlier, I think that's a mistake if you're serving Lexi Rodriguez. She is one of the best passers in the game.
Now Rodriguez to serve. 20-10 Nebraska. Blocked out of play, point Kentucky.
What a response from Nebraska, though. Kind of lost the thread a little bit. Was not as sharp in set 2. Came out in set 3 and has been nails on it from the start.
Well, you were surprised earlier when you saw the numbers that Kentucky was out blocking Nebraska, but in this set, Nebraska has a 5-1 edge in blocks. So that's an area where things have certainly turned around, and it shows on the scoreboard as well. Delay from the back row. Nebraska can't block that attempt, and it's a point for the Wildcats.
And Brooklyn Delay set that play up with the tough serve, getting Nebraska out of system, and then attack out of the back row for the point.
I'm impressed, Holly. It took till the third set before someone had a Brooke and Brooklyn.
The BBs?
Right?
Yes. I mean, I thought that was going to come early in the first set from me, not from you.
Well, I wanted to see Emma Grome set Brooke Boltema, and it was on the top of my mind.
Give the woman what she wants.
I know. Here's Beeson. Delay. Beeson. Rome sets it back for Boltima. That drops in. Point Nebraska.
You like the run to get Boltima involved on the slide, but when she goes that far away from the group of players, you got to follow her so you can be down, ready, and in coverage position in case she gets blocked. Unfortunately, Kentucky was just out of position there.
Rome looks for the kill. Nebraska was ready for it this time. Great hustling play by Grom to keep it alive for the moment for Kentucky. And Aaron Lamb says that was touched. The officials disagree. And Craig Skinner's telling them to play on. He's not going to challenge here. And Nebraska closing in on a third set victory, 2 points away. Short serve. Another good swing. What a great game from Aaron Lamb. 11 kills.
What a set. I mean, the ball's coming behind Emma Grome's shoulder, and she's still able to turn this ball and put up a beauty to get Aaron Lamb in position to take that kind of rip.
Boltima gets the ace.
Brooke Boltima, one of the best servers on this Kentucky team. She and Brooklyn Delay.
This is one of those moments where you look at the score and say, well, this set belongs to Kentucky, to Nebraska rather, but if you're Kentucky, what can you pick from it, if anything, besides a service error that gives set point to Nebraska, to try to build for set 4. But right now, the momentum building and the energy building for Nebraska, trying to put this one away, heading to a 4th set. Krause has it sent back. Beeson didn't have a lot on it. Lamb dug out by Beeson.
Sky ball.
Controlled by Bevan. Back row attack. Delay.
To your question, I think if you're Kentucky, you side out like we just saw and see if you can go on a run here with Emma Grome's serve. You're obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but you're likely not going to win set 3 here. So can you build some momentum, some good on good that you can take with you into set 4?
Exactly.
Nice save.
Point Nebraska, set Nebraska. They lead 2 sets to 1, a dominating 3rd set for the Huskers.
Bergen Riley doing a really nice job getting her middles involved on the Nebraska side of things. You saw Rebecca Alec and Andy Jackson with big kills and key moments. Nebraska regains the lead 2 sets to 1 here in Louisville.
Welcome to the American Volleyball Coaches Association, where...
How am I gonna find a doctor when I'm hallucinating? What do you think, Fever Monster?
What about Sock Doc?
Sock Doc?
Dr. Castell has a great bedside manner.
So many options.
But Dr. Shi-chan will take your sketchy insurance. Shi-chan, 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 Shi-chan.
Thanks, bro.
You've got more options than you know. Book now.
The Play Kits by Love Every are here to help with every milestone from ages 0 to 5. Delivered just in time for each stage of development. The Play Kits will be there to help your babies learn to roll over on the day they take their first steps, on the day they say their first word, on their first time helping out. There's something for every milestone. Try the Play Kits by Love Every, designed by experts for your child's developing brain.
No place like Nebraska. Our E60 feature on the 2023 season for the Huskers takes you inside the program that John Cook has built. You'll get never-before-seen footage, unprecedented access to players and coaches. It's available right now on ESPN+. We'll also show it after the conclusion of our second match that is between Louisville and Wisconsin. You don't have to be a Nebraska fan. It's great for all volleyball fans.
We see the difference. Well, first two sets very similar, but Nebraska had Kentucky out of system the third set, and that made the blocking much easier because they knew it was going to be predictable to the pins.
Ready for set 4 here at the KFC Yum Center. Brooklyn delay with the first serve rather, of this fourth set, and it's a good one. Riley kept it alive. Krause. Aaron Lamb has it blocked. There's more of that Nebraska block that was so strong in set 3.
Nice job by Bergen Riley, just setting up right in front of Aaron Lamb, sealing that net. I'm going to be curious to see if the blocking continues for Nebraska here in set 4, because they did a really nice job defensively at the net in set 3.
Tuzzo got in front of delay to receive that serve. No catching this. And it's a point for the Wildcats.
I think we should keep track of how many kills Kentucky scores from their middle blockers, because they have to get them involved. They can't rely on the pins to carry them this whole match against a team like Nebraska.
For Bultema, the middle, that was her 4th kill.
Just makes your offense way more one-dimensional, right? Where you know it's going to go to the pin time and time again. Mixing in the middle just keeps the defense honest, makes them honor and respect all lanes on the net.
At service error number 15 for Kentucky, 5 for Nebraska. Good serve from Krause. Lamb is denied.
That set is dying inside, and with a big block by Nebraska, there's nowhere for Aaron Lamb to go.
My coach used to say, you're leaving her in a closet. You're putting her in a closet, and she's just going to get stuffed if you don't put the ball high enough and out to the antenna so she can work with it.
Bevan tracks it down. Beeson. Delay, battle at the net. The setter versus Rebecca Alec. Advantage Alec.
Well, advantage Rebecca Alec for sure, but setters are really good at that particular skill. That time Emma Grome comes out on the losing end.
That was nice of you, Holly, because Katie was talking about, you know, the coaches blaming the setters whenever something bad happened. You know, the whole closet thing, and then you give a little setter love. That was good.
Well, Katie and I are both former setters, so I had to do that.
It's been a hard road for
I know.
both of us, you know?
Well, one is a glasses half full setter, one is a glasses half empty setter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of glory, a lot of blame, just like quarterbacks or point guards.
Nebraska picking up where they left off in set 3, up 5-1. And guess who? Aaron Lamb with another good rip. That's kill number 12 for Lamb.
She can really get on the ball. I mean, she's got a strong, powerful arm swing, especially cross court. I've been really impressed with the growth and the maturity we've seen from Aaron Lamb this evening. And if it remains, if she continues with this consistency, good things for Kentucky moving forward.
Next up for Kentucky will be their home opener against Northern Kentucky Friday in their return to Memorial Coliseum. Last season they played their home matches at Rupp Arena as Memorial was undergoing the $83 million renovation. Chris Scholes showing us some pictures. Everything looks awesome. The court went down Thursday. The first time that Kentucky was in the renovated Memorial was a scrimmage on Friday, so it'll be new to them as well. But it's good for Kentucky to be back in their home at Memorial.
All 4 of these teams have really tough non-conference schedules, none other than Kentucky's. I mean, what a doozy Craig Skinner has put in path for his team, but gosh, they're going to be better for it because of all the tough teams they're playing early on here to start this 2024 season.
And there's a point for for Nebraska. Well, they're running into a buzzsaw right now in Nebraska. You think about last year in Kentucky, they went 3-7 in their first 10 games. Then they won 18 in a row before losing to Arkansas in the NCAA tournament, and included in those first 7 losses, 2 losses to Pitt, excellent team, Final Four, loss at Purdue in 5, loss here at Louisville, loss at Nebraska, their lone SEC loss to Tennessee. So they played that real hard schedule, non-conference, and hard at the beginning of conference play, but it paid off because they went on that run and they were good at the end of the season. Right now, they don't have an answer for Nebraska at the moment. All Nebraska. Timeout called by Kentucky. 8-2 in the 4th. Welcome back. AVCA First Serve Showcase. Last played in 2014. After a 10-year absence, we're back. Holly McPeak, go.
Andy Jackson, number 15 in red, is something special. Her coaches told us she is next level. High contact point, dynamic attacker. You see her numbers. 5 blocks, 6 kills. She is something special.
High contact point. They said she added 3 inches to her vertical. She's now touching 10-10.
Bevan with the dig. Delay with the attack. Rodriguez can't handle it. Point Kentucky.
Kentucky's using their back row attack, and that time a C ball, not a D, all the way out, and that's attacking the seam of the Nebraska block in transition, paying off for that last point.
Beeson is denied by Kentucky's defense, so the Wildcats out of the timeout get a couple of points.
Yeah, guys, I was over in Kentucky's timeout, that last one, and Craig Skinner really wants some energy out of his team. As soon as they called that timeout, the girls weren't really talking to each other. He said, he looked at everybody and he said, hey, they're getting a big block up, but we've got to cover some balls, and everyone needs to go out there and compete.
Beeson misses the shot down the line, so Skinner's team now within 3 after 3 straight points.
It started with a block by Brooklyn Delay, number 17 in blue, and then the next swing, Merritt Beeson turns this ball wide. See the beautiful out call?
I don't know if both 6 has ever been called beautiful
before.
It is
beautiful.
I think it's beautiful. I
6
love
is
the
smiling in its
accuracy.
AI technology way.
But to Christine's point, Craig Skinner's made his money on having a really gritty team that doesn't go away. Even when their back's against the wall in the past years, they always come back. They're never out of a match. So I appreciate the message to him of, hey, show some energy. We're not out of this. We can force a 5th, but we got to play cleaner volleyball.
And they are 9-6.
Megan Wilson with her 6th kill. She's had a quiet night offensively on the right side for Kentucky.
I thought it was interesting. Craig Skinner said she may be the best right side blocker he's ever coached. And that's saying something because Kentucky's had a slew of excellent right sides. But to be the best blocker, she must be something special.
There's Andy Jackson. You talked about her ability, her athleticism, showed a little of it there to get the point.
We used to talk about Asia O'Neal of Texas as the slide queen. I think Andy Jackson is definitely the new slide queen. So good at going off 1 foot behind her setter.
A passing of the crowns, if you will.
Yes. Are we giving that crown here in day number 1? Are we?
For now, I think we can absolutely give it to Andy Jackson, yeah.
Somebody has to take it away from her.
Nice. Oh, good. Wow.
That's going to be a point for Kentucky. Great save by Murray earlier in the point, but in the end, the Wildcats get the point.
We talked about transition. Look at Harper Murray do everything she can to keep that alive. And then Choboy gets it over the net, but Delay has the answer for Kentucky.
Nebraska's so good in the unscripted scenarios, the unscripted situations where they just got to have their instincts make plays.
Yeah, the improvisation, amazing. They've got the athleticism that could put that improvisation to work. And that's a point for Nebraska.
Big, quick transition swing goes long for delay.
Little pause from the officials. Are they just confirming the in and outs? And now Jackson will come off. And here comes Kennedy Orr to serve. Served well in that third set. Won by Nebraska, 25-15. Still to come, Louisville and Wisconsin in game 2 of our season opening doubleheader. I don't know if we fully settled that last point.
Well, it looks like Nebraska's checking their rotation.
So while they talk, I want to get your first thoughts on Wisconsin and Louisville still to come, because we've got quite the doubleheader here tonight.
Well, I'm really excited. I think we're going to see some new people in important roles, but also some really...
Can't wait to see what Louisville looks like, different systems of all the weapons they have, a little bit more known to us, but I am so excited to see what Charlie Furbringer, the true freshman setter for Wisconsin, brings to the table. She is an exciting player, the #1 setting recruit out of high school. She's going to be awesome.
I've been told between matches, Christine and Jen are going to be wrapping up our first game and previewing our second match. And during the warm-up for match number 2, that Sarah Franklin from Wisconsin, the AVC Player of the Year last year, and Anna DeBeer, the queen of Louisville, you gave up that crown. They're going to be mic'd up, and they're going to be able to interact with Jen and Christine during the warm-up. So they'll have a little back and forth, and you'll kind of be taken onto the court. And there you see this matchup of 2 of the very best players in the country set to go head-to-head in match number 2.
These two have been faces of college volleyball for quite some time. Sarah Franklin has been a household name up at Wisconsin. Anna DeBeer has really changed this program here in Louisville, leading them to their first national semifinal. We've got movement finally from Nebraska. John Cook continues to have conversations with the down official.
And because Nebraska was out of system, Kentucky gets the point.
You don't see that often, that teams get out of rotation.
It has not been fully sorted out as of yet. I think when it's all said and done, Kennedy Orr's, well, at least she looked like she was going to come back off the court. Cook getting an explanation from Michelle Prater. Craig Skinner staying just close enough. Of course, Skinner and Cook coach together.
Harper Murray telling her teammates of Nebraska that they are in rotation 5.
And we talked to, as they still sort this out, I know it's been talked about so often about, Craig Skinner was an assistant to John Cook, and Craig went through the story because he says as you get a little older, you get more nostalgic, and moments like this feel so great because John Cook gave Craig Skinner a job that paid $12,000 a year, and Craig lived in a $250 efficiency apartment and loved every minute of it, he said.
He had a futon and a wicker chair from Pottery Barn, he said. Those were his 2 items in his lovely apartment out in Nebraska.
That hit home. I feel like I had the same. My rent was never $250, though.
No, I'll take that.
Connections all over this matchup because Craig Skinner and Kelly Sheffield were assistants together in their start of their coaching journey, high school. Do you know Danny Busboom, who was a standout in Nebraska? One of Craig Skinner's last recruits when he was an assistant coach at Nebraska was Danny Busboom, who is now the head coach, of course.
Here's that tree.
Oh, okay. So we've got the John Cook tree. Oh, there you go. There's Craig back in the Nebraska days. And Danny Busboom-Kelly will have her team on the court here momentarily. Taking a few moments than expected, more than we planned on because of this delay here. Just trying to get the personnel set. They want to get the score set as well.
I bet this is eating at John Cook because he's all about efficiency, right? He's talked about numerous ways that we can speed up the game of volleyball. That's why you see Bolt here tonight. They're talking about implementing a serving clock, like a pitch clock that they have in college baseball and MLB. I'm sure he doesn't like that this is extending and extending, but the bugler back out here.
Oh, the bugler was here. The call to post. Very Louisville thing to get things started. Did the bugler go home? Can he come, like, does he know any other songs outside of the call to post?
I'm not well versed in what the bugler knows and does not know, to be
You're from
honest.
Louisville, so
He
there's only
plays
one song that matters.
really matters, and he does it really well. Just like Andy Jackson does really well getting kills out of the middle for Nebraska. How about that for a segue?
You got them all. All right, so now, as we mentioned before, Kennedy Orr was on, then was off, and now she's back on. I think everything's all set. 11-8 is the score. 12-8 is the score. The Nebraska block there again. Krause.
Textbook block by Krause, number 22 in red. She just gets there and so quick with her press over the net that there's nowhere to go offensively.
Both 6'4", they're like synchronized divers or swimmers that you saw in the Olympics. They go up together, they press together, everything's sealed.
They don't smile like the synchronized swimmers, like nonstop, working too hard. Harper Murray couldn't get that one. It's a point for Kentucky.
And again, Erin Lamb coming up big. When Kentucky needs a kill, she's been the answer.
Lamb now with 13 kills, 29 total attempts. How about the work Brooklyn DeLay is putting in tonight? 51 swings. The highest swing total for any Nebraska player is 32 for Merritt Beeson.
Well, I also think that, yes, Brooklyn DeLay is tried and true, so yes, you want to go to her often, but Kentucky's been out of system a lot, so they've had to utilize that outside pin.
Krause for Nebraska.
Lindsay Krause looking so smooth. Before she went out early last year, she was the Big Ten Player of the Week. She was putting up incredible numbers, and you see her returning to form for Nebraska.
There's DeLay. Rodriguez. Lamb. Another kill for Erin Lamb. 14 for Erin. We didn't ask if we got the green light, but we heard the teammates and Craig Skinner refer to her as Lambo, which, as far as nicknames go,
I dig it.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's off of Kentucky. Point for Nebraska. Up by 4.
Nebraska have been really good lately getting their middles involved. We saw Andy Jackson go off offensively, and now Becca Alec scoring one tough in the cross court.
Good serve by Krause at delay. They continue to put pressure on her. There's Daly. Rodriguez. Harper Murray.
Beautiful
Good dig
set
by Bevan. Now delay, and that's out of play. Point Nebraska.
To Holly's point, Rebecca Alex hitting .615 Andy Jackson, 467. So both have been extremely efficient when given the opportunity by Bergen Riley.
Nebraska very efficient in this fourth set, hitting 400. Good serve here. Lamb tried to get to it.
Ran over our cameraman, I think.
Took out of camera. Zach is up. Oh, thumbs up, yes. Timeout called by Kentucky. So one of the added bonuses of being here for this opening night is we have all four coaches mic'd up, starting here in match one. Craig Skinner for Kentucky, John Cook for Nebraska. Let's listen to some of what's been said tonight.
What is now is what we're talking about, okay? Regardless, we're down 2, down 5, up 5. Let's continue to stay in the now so we stay present.
Got to get the left-handed thing. You guys got to see where she's going. It's out there, left hand, we got to shape up.
Smile, you're the best server in the country. Trust it and stick it.
Harper! No bounce blocks. Wait, get there and go high and use the block.
Over! Yes!
Keep the pressure on. Everything we do, discipline, Andy.
I think Nebraska's kept the pressure on, especially in set 3 and sets 4 here. They've been almost surgical with the efficiency we've seen, not just at the net, Holly, but in the backcourt as well.
I agree, and when they serve well and they put pressure on you with their block, it really shrinks the court in the backcourt. It is hard to find open floor.
There's just so much continuity with this Nebraska team. I mean, Bergen Riley knows all of her attackers extremely well because she went through an entire season a year ago with them. Whereas Emma Grome, although she's a veteran setter, she's working with new pieces this season, especially in the middle.
Kentucky able to get Megan Wilson involved again offensively. The more kills they can get from her on that right side, that time she goes off 1 foot, the better. Again, taking the pressure off Lamb in delay on that left pin.
Wilson, as mentioned before, in a different position this year for Grome to work with over the right side from the outside. We mentioned Jordan Daly and Brooke Boltema in the middle. Asia Thigpen, a freshman, added to the mix for this Kentucky team.
Megan Wilson played predominantly on the outside last year for Kentucky, but when she was at Oklahoma, she got time on both pins, so she is very comfortable on that right side.
Mistake again. Do not serve Lexi. I mean, we've talked about it. Serve away from her. Sure, disrupt some routes, but another great set where they're able to run that high percentage attack to Rebecca Alec, number 5 in red.
Cook loves it.
Oh, yeah. What's not to love? Great balance for Nebraska. Alec with 10 kills, Beeson with 10 kills, Jackson with 9 kills, Krause with 7, Murray with 7. I mean, that is an all-star team, and they're spreading the wealth beautifully.
And that speaks to Bergen Riley, knowing what her hitters need and being willing to get everybody involved. But to be able to get everybody involved, you have to pass well. That's an overpass, but so far throughout the night, Nebraska's done a really nice job in serve receive.
Delay. There's Rodriguez with the dig. To Riley, to Beeson. Delay has it sent back, but it's out of play. Point for Kentucky.
There was a point for Nebraska where Harper Murray got stuck in the middle, and she was going outside to close that block, and then in transition, she and Andy Jackson switched. Nice heads-up play by them.
Murray in serve receive, got set up for the kill and put it away for her 8th of the night.
I remember last year John Cook isolating in Harper Murray's ear, working on her footwork for those particular situations, and you see how hard she works with her feet to get there.
Because she comes forward, right? They drop the ball in front of her, so she's moving forward. She makes the pass, and then she's got to work her butt off to get outside in transition so she can take a full approach back to the net. It's really hard work.
Here's Tuzzo. You heard Craig Skinner singing her praises as far as her serve. Delivers a good one here. Nebraska able to handle it. And Nebraska gets the point.
I love that play play from Bergen Riley because it's not a perfect pass right on the net. When most setters run their middle, she's a step or two off the net. But the fact that she's still able to run Andy Jackson, she gets her up high enough so she can still attack off the net. But being able to keep your middles involved in not so perfect situations makes you a really hard offense to stop.
And Andy Jackson has a big offensive window to get her that ball.
Choboy to Tuzzo. Delay. Nebraska's still into the point. Beeson tracked it down. Choboy with the dig. Jackson and Riley were there, but it's a point for Kentucky.
Lots of good defensive touches by Nebraska, but DeLay able to score on that last transition swing. John Cook wants a timeout.
His team up by 4, but seeing something he didn't particularly care for there, so he's going to take a moment here and bring his team together. They're up 2 sets to 1, trying to win their opener here. Nebraska will take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi Friday. TCU on Saturday back in Lincoln. 319 straight sellouts, by the way. Their Big Ten opener, this will sound a little different. UCLA on September 27th.
You see in this Nebraska bench shot in all black, that's Jordan Larson. She just came back from Paris, and you want to know how many days head coach John Cook gave off?
Can we guess? 0.0.
0. She wanted to go to Mexico with her friends. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. She said, okay. I said, what? One of the greatest players of all time for the USA. Class act.
She's up to 4 Olympic medals, right? So 4 Olympic medals doesn't buy you at least a weekend in Cozumel?
It's crazy.
Seriously.
I feel like we need to talk to John about that.
I think we do. He might not listen.
No, he probably won't. She's going to be an excellent coach. The players absolutely love her. She takes them to coffee in the morning just to check in with them, not just as players, but as people. Having that kind of resource on the bench is massive.
And Jordan Larson has been where all these players aspire to be. So what a great role model in connection.
So when is the vacation? Is it like last week of December?
Never.
She said she might get a few days off at Christmas.
Oh, how kind.
After the volleyball season. December 22nd is the last day in this building, by the way.
Yes. December 22nd to January 2nd.
And not a day longer. Nebraska, the first team to 20 here in set number 4. Nebraska won set 1, Kentucky won set 2, but then Nebraska took over, established their block, won set 3 with ease, and they're up by 4 here in the 4th. They're up by 5 in the 4th.
Seems like that set might be dying a little bit inside, and Erin Lamb doesn't have room to operate around that block.
You know, Kentucky wants to run it really fast, but even though you're running it fast doesn't mean that you have to shoot it low. You still want to be able to shoot it high enough so that your hitters can elevate.
You saw the block totals have completely swung in Nebraska's direction after Kentucky had a 1-block edge after set number 2. All Nebraska in that category since then. Can Kentucky mount a late comeback here in set 4? Starts with a good serve. They get it, and they get the point. Ace for the Wildcats.
Brooke Bultema has done a really nice job from the service line as a middle and as somebody who has been untested, right? She was out a season ago. She redshirted, and now this is her first true season with the Wildcats. She's been impressive.
And again, a middle blocker taking pride in her serve and her defense.
Bultema again. Beeson.
Missed block assignment by Kentucky, and Merritt Beeson all alone.
1-on-none. Great job by Bergen Riley recognizing that Beeson's coming out of the right back. No blockers, nobody home. To work with. Heck of a play.
But that was made happen because she was left back and ran all the way across the court, and Kentucky lost her.
With the block. Another block for Nebraska. Since set number 2 ended, Nebraska's block edge is now 13-2.
Wow.
2 points away from taking the opening match of the season. Beeson, 11 kills, 5 blocks, 8 digs. That one is long, and this great Nebraska crowd that filled up this building tonight going to make some noise because it's match point here in Louisville.
Nebraska fans traveled well to Louisville, Kentucky to support their team.
Delay. Well, that one was close.
On her 58th swing of the night, she catches that cross-court line. Here you see both 6. I love the immediate replay in ball.
Match point number 2 for Nebraska. Harper serve receive. Krause. Kept alive. Beeson blocked back. Kentucky's not done yet.
I always say when you set your middles, get them involved in the offense. I feel like they're more connected to the game and they block better.
Sure. Keeps them more engaged.
Match point number 3 for Nebraska. Puts it away, and Nebraska starts 2024